Look, whether it's Rite Aid, Walgreens, CVS going out of business, Cadbury doubling the price of chocolate along with Nestle, whatever it might be, there are a lot of things out there with the economy that are right in your face. And if you're not paying attention to it and you're still like, oh, yeah, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris, really? If you think it's bad now, wait till we're $40 trillion in debt or $50 trillion in debt. And inflation returns to 4, 5, 6% because they keep dumping money into it that we don't have while they're sending money to Ukraine and everywhere else. Just think about where it's going to go, all right? Here's another report that we're going to dig deeper into over the next few days. This is something I've told you about before, but I tell you about it again, especially those of you living in rural America. Your hospital is in danger. Your health care in rural America is in danger because, well, a variety of reasons. Government problems, insurance company problems, other issues, lots of blame to go around. All right? Big corporations gobbling up a group of hospitals and deciding, oh, we're only going to keep part of those hospitals open so we can increase profits. I mean, plenty of blame. Government, insurance companies, problems with big companies gobbling up hospitals and closing them. More than 700 hospitals at risk. That's what the headline says today. Yeah, so these are all indications of problems with the economy, and you need to be prepared. So let's bring in my good friend Nick Hopwood, certified financial planner, 25 years in the business, hundreds of millions of dollars under his management today. It is Peak Wealth Management, peakwm.com/Gruber. If you want to find out more, we'll have more on that in a moment. Nick, welcome back to the program.
Steve, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Look, I see these indicators everywhere, whether it's the Rite Aid store, 5 minutes from my house that's boarded up now, along with apparently 95% of them in Michigan. The price of goods, whether it's Cadbury candy or whatever might be on the shelf, going up. These hospitals all teetering on bankruptcy. It doesn't matter where I look in this economy, I see red flags. You probably see opportunity, but it's a little nerve-wracking for a lot of folks. It's frightening to me, Nick.
Yeah, it seems like the environment has changed from worry about inflation to worry about recession. We saw that the last couple of weeks with the S&P dropping 10% on the drawdown. On Monday morning, the S&P opened up minus 10% from the recent high, but the rest of the week it traded higher. Buyers came in, futures are up again this morning. Will it be, the beginning of a larger drawdown, or was this a buying opportunity? Time will tell.
Well, and you're the one that told me in election years, the average return on investments is about 8% in an election year. And we were probably well on track to do better than that, but then came that downturn. How did that impact the final number this year? Or how do you think it's going to play out?
Well, consulting the crystal ball is always difficult, especially with compliance, Steve.
Well, come on. Get a better crystal ball. Anyhow.
We're still up double digits, and time will tell. But here's one thing. We talked about this about a month ago. Even with a great first half of the year, on average, the second half of the year does have a 9% drawdown, which we just saw. So is that it for the rest of the year? We don't know, but it's pretty common to have a drawdown of 10% in any year. So no big deal.
So you're not concerned at all with what happened last week on Monday. It doesn't concern you in the least. I mean, right now, look at the futures. The Dow Jones is going to be down, 0.1%. S&P is up 0.1%. NASDAQ up 0.2%. So pretty flat, pretty even, pretty steady. But look, there are a lot of red flags in the economy, aren't there?
Yeah, there definitely are. And it's kind of like the haves and have-nots. One thing that we're looking at are the stock prices of Visa and MasterCard. If you take a look at those two companies, which, they're very embedded in the U.S. economy, compared to American Express, which is kind of the higher end of the U.S. consumer, we're seeing a divergence. And when you compare those to the S&P, another divergence, it's a red signal. There are many, many red signals. And so, we're definitely watching that. But overall, the trend is still up.
Yeah, so here's one of the things, housing. Mortgage rates have come down. They were, 7.5% was the average. They're a little bit below 7% now, maybe 6.5%. Not what they were when Joe Biden took office, because fixed mortgages at 30 years were 2.25% back then. They weren't going to last forever, fair enough, but they sure did go up a lot. The average rent in America, a couple of grand. The average mortgage, about twice that almost. I mean, that's tough. If you're 25 years old and trying to get started somewhere, how are you going to foot a $3,800 mortgage bill, or even, a $2,500 mortgage bill, just trying to get your foot in the door to get started somewhere? I mean, it's very daunting, the economy for young people.
Yeah, especially with housing, as you mentioned, they're going to have to be coming in with a much larger down payment. There's no question. But hey, 6.5 is better than 7.5, so that is marginal improvement. I'm not saying that we have this epic opportunity to go out and refinance right now, but it is a marginal benefit, and so we look at that as a positive. And I think that we will have lower rates to come. Time will tell how long it will take to get back down into the 5% range. But if I just had a mortgage last year at 7.5%, I would probably be still waiting for that refinance opportunity.
Right, but if it gets to 5%, then you start to say, well, maybe it makes sense financially, because you have to obviously spend money to get that rate down. But if you can, then you go ahead and do it. What's the difference between an independent advisor and somebody I find at my local bank? Because every bank says, oh, we got people that can tell you how to spend your money, right? What's the difference between somebody like you and somebody like that?
Yeah, so first of all, I take this independent, I wear this badge really with pride. So being independent, we don't work for the bank. We don't work for the wirehouse. We work for our clients. As a fiduciary, operating on a fee-based, we work for you. We don't have to answer to the mothership. We don't have to recommend a strategy that the bank sees in favor right now, or recommend a certain manager or their own manager so they can double dip on fees. So it's really important to have an independent perspective, and that's how our whole business model is based.
Independent perspective, and so how do you get paid? How does that work? How does somebody like me pay for financial advice for somebody like you?
Right, so most independents operate on a fee base rather than a commission basis. So when your portfolio goes up, we're charging a percentage, we get a raise. And when your portfolio goes down, we get a pay cut. So Steve, we're sitting on the same side of the table as our clients when it comes to the results and how we get paid.
If you succeed, you win. If you don't succeed, you don't win. I think that's pretty fair. PeakWM.com, by the way, always get a second opinion. That's what I learned from Nick. Get a second opinion, and you can do that at peakWM.com/Gruber. And for all of you on the streaming or the television or wherever you might be, that QR code right there on the screen, man, just click that, and you can learn what Nick's got going on. Ask him some questions. He's here to help. And look, his conversation with you, that doesn't cost you anything. PeakWM.com/Gruber. Nick, good stuff. I'm glad you're an optimist, because I get scared to death, but you're an optimist, and I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.